Okay. All right. Looks like we got people starting to join. We've got 7 so far.
Mhm.
Hello, everybody. Actually, if you can jump in the chat room and share where you're from, so we get going, that would be great. And by the way, any of you, if you see me looking off to the side, that's because I've got 2 monitors,
Same here.
and that's the reason why. All right, so where are we from? Scottsdale, Arizona. Oh my
Wow.
God, are you got now? Wait a second, John. You're going to invite us all to play golf out there?
I hope the weather's better than it was this summer in Arizona. It was
Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico.
Puerto
El
Rico.
Conquistador. I don't know if you've Gladys. I don't know if you've been to El Conquistador. I love that place there, and I think it was Dorado. Yeah, I
Eastern
used to go
Shore,
there all the
Maryland.
time. I opened a factory there making Johnson Johnson dental floss and Johnson Johnson Reach toothbrushes in Puerto Rico. That was interesting. We got Jacksonville, Orlando. Nancy's from Eastern Shore, Maryland. Oh, I love sailing there. Used to love sailing there. That's when I had a friend that liked me that had a sailboat there. Where is Thorndale, Texas? And
Fajardo.
okay,
Yeah.
awesome. We got 26 people. We'll get going in a couple of minutes. We're just asking, where are people from? All right. Las Vegas.
Vegas.
Wow. Wow. New York City.
Oh, it must be beautiful there as always during the holidays.
New York City in the holidays is awesome.
It's gorgeous.
So it is awesome. You know, it's funny. I lived outside New York City for 35 years, and last year was the first time I had been to Ellis Island, which is bizarre. You know,
Wow.
when you live there, you don't go, right? When you leave there, oh, you got to do it. Los
You know what's
Angeles.
funny, Dave, is that I grew up in Florida, then I moved to New York City. So we did everything when we got there. We visited all the spots and then we left. But I can see because here in Florida, I haven't visited many spots. And so
Right?
you're absolutely right. When you're from somewhere, you just don't
Yeah, you just assume.
yet.
There you go. Although, you know, people come down in Florida, everyone wants to go to Disney World, so
That's
whatever.
true.
So we'll get going in like another minute. So actually, so Regina, one of the funny parts about that. So the grandkids come down, spend a fortune to take them Disney World, right? 4 days at Disney World, and they have most of a day left before they fly back. So I'm going, all right, cheap, $25. We'll go to Gator World. That's all they talked about for the next year. Thousands of dollars on Disney World. They only talked about Gator World. Oh my gosh. So
And I've never been to Gator World. I've been
you've never
meaning
been to Gator World.
to
There's
see
a lot of
what
gators.
we're talking about.
Yeah, we got a lot of Orlando people on here tonight, so they'll know about that. So, all right, Regina, I'm going to turn it over to you. I think we got 2 past. We got still a bunch of people joining. We got, all right, not as many as last time, but that's okay. Because we got the best people this time, Regina. That's what I'm told. The best people signed up. That's why they're from all over. And thank you all for joining, by the way.
So, hello everyone. My name is Regina Garay. I am a marketing mentor with Mid Florida Score. Joining me is David Harrison, your wonderful presenter. I have taken David's classes before. They're always fantastic. You always get so many good insights. And today's class is on proposals, world-class techniques that increase sales. And that's always the thing, right? That's what we need. More sales, a better balanced business, and a way to get there. And the way to get there is through world-class proposals. All right, I'm going to tell everybody a little bit more about Mid-Florida SCORE, if you don't mind pulling it forward. Thank you, Dave. SCORE is a national nonprofit. It is a volunteer organization that provides valuable free small business advice. It is free confidential business mentoring. We provide local and online business workshops, and there are online experts, there are templates, and there are tools. If you were to head to the midflorida.score.org website, you'll see it there on the lower left. We have 10,000 plus volunteers nationwide, and SCORE is a resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration. So thank you, SBA. The resources that you can find at the website is that you can select your chapter by zip code. So for those of you who are not here in Mid-Florida, in the Central Florida area, you can find your local SCORE. You can also, of course, keep taking classes, online courses. We have local mentors that provide free confidential mentoring. You can choose face-to-face or remote for as long as you need. It is a fantastic resource for small business owners. We also, of course, offer local workshops. You can register for training from our extensive list of business topics. Also, you can find on the website those that have been recorded, so you can search by topic there as well. And you can find templates, tools, a valuable blog, and hundreds of recorded webinars from both local and national chapters. So if you enjoy this workshop, please refer your colleagues to score.org. And of course, please head on over to the website and just kind of take a look around and see all the goodness that's available to you. And today our presenter is David Harrison. Dave is a SCORE mentor. He currently teaches MBA students full-time and in all business subjects. Dave enjoyed a career as a senior executive with global responsibilities at Johnson & Johnson, Armstrong, and Standard Industries. Dave has also started multiple successful entrepreneurial ventures, and he continues to be active in various philanthropies. Welcome, Dave, and thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to insert one thing, because you know what? One question we always have is one. Oops. Is this recorded?
Yes.
Is this recorded? And the answer is
yes.
yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And let me share something about that. So the recording generally comes out a day or two later. Now, if you need it quicker or want it quicker, you can email me, and it usually comes out tonight within a couple of hours. And if you email me, actually, I can't remember my SCORE email, so I'm going to put my personal one down. You can just email me, and I'll send it to you tonight when it's done. That's one. Two, another question, or actually, I think I'm at three. Another question I sometimes get asked is, do you have other webinars that you've done, Dave? Because I like this one. Yes. And if in the email to me, you said, can you send me a link to other SCORE seminars? All you have to do is ask, and I'll send them to you. That's three. And the last thing that always gets asked is, hey, Dave, if I want to contact you personally, even though I'm not in the metro that our SCORE group is part of, can I still utilize you? Yes, I do have a few clients I got from around the country. I've got key one in Texas, key one in Pennsylvania, key one in, so whatever. If you do want me to help based on what you hear, and I can help with your specific situation, just go into the SCORE mentor and put in the request that you'd like my help, and they usually approve it. And those are key questions that always come up. So if I'm missing any,
and
what other question? Yep.
I put your email on into the chat as well so that they have it.
That is awesome. All right. Any other questions before I get going that would make this successful for you tonight? Any key things that you want to make sure I cover to make tonight successful for you, or any perspective you want me to cover that's important to you? If you can put it in the chat room, I'll try to address those as we go. All right.
Dave, I will leave the stage to you. Thank you.
Oh, you're not going to stay on the stage with me? Oh my God, Regina, you're leaving me alone? All
This
right.
is your night. All
All
right.
right. Well, start with the obvious. The key to proposals are success. But the real key to success is a win, win, win. And I'll just start off. What's the first major mistake people make in proposals? When they put them together, their first focus on what's a win for me. When you focus on yourself, you're less likely to see what's really going to grab the attention, the interest, and the focus that sets you apart from everybody else in winning. All right. So let me try this definition of success tonight. And by the way, I think it's Rahel asked will I send the PowerPoint as well? Yes, if you put in your email, I will do that. And Donna asked, are you saying I'm open to be a mentor? Yes, in the special situations. And if I can help, you can request me personally. And that's happened on a lot of these seminars. So defining success tonight, you tell me if this is a fair success for you. If one, you get some insight on how to make your proposals more effective, the ones you're working on. Two, is you understand proposal strategy, how to differentiate yourself versus the other options these clients are considering. Three is some techniques that frankly enhance the communication effectiveness of your proposal. And four, how to close your proposal so you're helping your client actually close themselves. If we can cover those things tonight, would tonight be successful for you? And Rahel, if you could email me, I probably won't be able to grab the emails off the chat. So just email me after this is all done, and we'll go from there. And John, sounds like that'd be a successful success for you. Michael, sounds like you agree. If anyone disagrees, let me know quick. And if not, I'm going to assume this will make tonight successful for you. All right. So tell me if this sort of makes sense. Would you agree that some important things in a proposal, if you don't demonstrate care and respect for them, all right, forget what the proposal is asking for, forget what the circumstances are. At the end of the day, if they don't open that proposal and say, wow, they care and respect me, without that, there's less trust. Is that fair? And then two, well, without trust, do people really look and read as carefully the communication you shared? And without great communication, isn't it true there's less of a relationship? And without a relationship, there's generally not much of a future. What's the key point here? At the end of the day, it's not just the information you share and the facts that you share and the proposition, the value of what you're sharing. A key part of this is without care and respect that you've demonstrated for them and about them, you're less likely to have an effective proposal. Does that make sense? All right? Just as a starting point. So I want to talk about great versus good proposals, because bad proposals, it's sort of obvious, and just okay proposals. So I want to compare just good to great, because that's where you really separate yourselves. And I'm just going to share some best practices in the short amount of time we have here. I mean, I've done an entire MBA class on just this one subject before, but we're going to just start with some of the core basics. So let's start with the first basic. One, a proposal is not about you. It's all about them. So what's the implication of that? The implication of that is when it's about you, subconsciously or even consciously, you're viewing what you're doing as convincing them. And frankly, I've seen a lot of proposals, most proposals, I can tell they're trying to convince me to do what's in their interest, right? And That's most of them. Here's the problem. When you're in a convincing mode, people can tell, right? When you're in convincing mode, they can tell. And when you're convincing, they know it's not caring about them. They know it's not respecting them. And by definition, you're starting to lose trust, right? If you're starting to lose trust, opportunity starts disappearing, okay? And Lily, again, I shared at the beginning, we are doing a recording. If you want a copy of it, send me an email. If not, it'll be posted within a few days. And I see, Gwen, you asked before, we're in mid-Florida, I think it's called. Gina, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, mid-Florida. And if you want to request me, you just go there and ask for Dave Harrison. All right, let's go to the next. So that's implication one. It's about them. 2, if you can't visualize it, or if you can visualize it, you can achieve it. So what does that mean? What's the implication? If you talk to psychiatrists who study this stuff, how brains work, how we learn, in general, we hear facts through our ears, right? And as we all know, I mean, we're mostly wired. God somehow wired us. Facts support our opinions. But the reality is most decisions are made on our opinions. Here's why, right? Remember, this was fascinating. We're wired to avoid risk. We're wired as humans in general to avoid experiences we don't want and put even more emphasis on what we don't want than what we do want. All right. So, for example, a whole key to like Johnson & Johnson and Microsoft and IBM and Procter & Gamble, if you study what they've done from a marketing strategy standpoint, most of what they do is first all about what they're going to help you avoid, an experience you don't want, and secondarily, what you do want. Now, that flies in the face of what most of us thought about sales and marketing, because we were sort of taught mostly that people are benefit seeking. The reality is the research shows, and the companies have really figured it out, the great versus good. The key is the experience you're helping them avoid. All right, I'll give you a quick example of one that I worked on. There are some very smart people making tons of money in some really great companies that sell pain relievers. All right, and so you get these pain relievers that say, this is how much stronger we are than Tylenol. And by the way, they are. And then you got others that say, this is how much longer we last than Tylenol. And notice, those are fact-based communications. What's Johnson & Johnson do? And I worked on this years ago. I was 26 years old. You know, when you're worried about pain relief, 9 out of 10 hospitals trust Tylenol. Why would you trust your family's health to anybody else? And to this day, 40 cents of every dollar is spent on Tylenol. So what does that tell you? The world-class companies that really study this, the Johnson & Johnsons, the Procter & Gambles, the Microsofts, what these companies have figured out is we tend to most of us, make decisions emotionally, even though we think it's logical. We base it on our opinions and use facts to back it up. Now, why do we use opinions? Think about it. With facts, someone can call us out, very uncomfortable, and say, those facts aren't right. With opinions, we can never be wrong. And here's a little experiment I'd like you to do following this seminar. And I've done this a lot of times with a lot of people. I want you to eavesdrop on conversations. Actually, I'm going to change that one. Different experiment. I want you to ask yourself. We'll do it right now. I'm going to do it now. I want you to ask yourself, what store do you shop at most? And when you think of that store, why do you shop there? Can a few people jump in, say, what store do you shop at most? And then throw in the chat box. And when you think of that store, why do you shop there? All right. And we got Connie who says Amazon's easy. And we got John who says Target because of Starbucks. Okay. And we got Whole Foods. And what was the reason on Whole Foods? When you think it's so, what do you shop? Why do you shop there? Walmart. Okay. Okay, we can stop because I got enough here. I'm going to share with you something I want you to notice. You've been in these stores a ton of times. You've probably seen a ton of advertising for these stores. You've seen signage of the stores. Now, you've been bombarded with facts about these stores. Here's a few things I want you to notice about every response. One, none of you mentioned more than 3 things. And 2, every one of them is an opinion, or almost everyone is an opinion, not actually a fact. And what's the reason why? When we make decisions on our opinions subconsciously, it avoids an experience we don't want, which is being embarrassed and when we use a fact, we're more likely to put ourselves in a position to be embarrassed. Does that make sense? So the reality is, you study the brain. Opinions are our safe zone. 2, opinions that are emotional and a reason to do whatever is what drives behavior. And the more people can visualize the situation, the more comfortable they are. Hey, I can see myself doing that. Let's go forward. So our eyes, our shape, our trust, what we can, and I don't mean just through the eyeballs themselves, what you can visualize in your brain from both what you see or the mental picture. Great proposals share a mental picture, help the person understand the experience that they're going to avoid and the experience that they're going to gain. Those 2 things are key. And I'm going to share some examples later. Third, the more I help others to succeed, the more I succeed. What's the implication? Again, what's the emotional experience really captures them that they want to avoid or gain? Avoidance is primary, gain is secondary. Happens to be the way the brain is wired. And 2, does my proposal focus on those? Am I helping the brain do that? Let's go to another one. Reality of trust is continuously moving. All right, it's fluid. So I'm going to share with you, tell me if you can relate to this, what I learned about this, and a lot of us did, way back in high school. If you remember, way back in high school is that awkward stage of relationships. And how do I get a date? And first thing we learned for a lot of us is, what's the hardest part about getting a date? Asking. And why is that so difficult? Fear of rejection. Notice what prevents us early in life to not ask for dates, not look for relationships, go out, whatever. The fear of rejection, experience we didn't want, outweighed the gain of having a date. And Stanford University put a number on it. It's statistically a 2.1 factor. In other words, the benefit of that date has to be 2.1 to equal the avoidance, the experience I don't want. So back in that awkward stage in life, what did I learn? Well, first I tried the things that different people try, tell my best friend to tell her best friend and, share all about me. And that's what it was. And then finally, I figured out I'm going about this all wrong. How they felt about me had more to do with how they felt about themselves when they were with me versus how much they actually knew about me. Also, key proposal. How they feel about me has more to do with, not total, how they felt about themselves. They were with me. That led me to 2. What made, in my case, her feel good about herself? The more questions I asked to demonstrate I really cared and really respected them, the more they liked me. That's the opposite of what I was taught in school about marketing and sales, whatever, which is all about telling them stuff. Now, a proposal has to do that. You know, that it doesn't lend itself to the questions, although I try every time to do my proposals, do them, but present them in person so I can demonstrate care and respect. But there's lots of ways of doing that. What's the key ingredients? Listen closely, ask meaningful questions, explain why, which is a separate thing I want you to test. After this seminar, eavesdrop on a bunch of conversations. And you're going to be surprised by my hypothesis and what you're going to see, that until you see it, you probably don't believe that what I'm going to share is true. Eavesdrop on those conversations, and here's my hypothesis. You're going to hear what happened, when it happened, where it happened, how it happened, and how it happened. You hardly ever hear why, which is bizarre, because why is where all insight comes from. And without why, trust diminishes. You know that if you got a child, you don't share why, trust diminishes, is less like it's going to happen. So understanding that we are not wired as human beings to explain the why, and the why is one of the most important parts of that presentation, that proposal, and that our minds aren't wired to share it, is really important. Share mental pictures, help people picture the situation happening. And one last key one, people remember what they don't expect. I'll give you a small example. I never went on an interview personally that somehow I didn't work into the conversation that between ages 15 and 19, I was the studio drummer for Aerosmith and Moody Blues and Ted Nugent. And I ended up working for Ted's brother for 9 years at Johnson & Johnson. I've met people 20 years later. That's what they remember. People tend to remember you if you shared something they didn't expect. Also key in a proposal. What can you share that they wouldn't expect? All right. Is this making sense so far? Is this helpful so far? Just a little bit of feedback before I keep going. Are we good so far? You getting something out of it? All right. Good. All right. Next thing. There's a big difference between proposals and quotes. So what's the difference? When we quote, we're putting the focus on the cost. We're putting the focus on what I need from you. Here's how much it is to do what you asked for or need. A great proposal focuses on the investment. It focuses on not what they're buying from you, the product or service, it's the result of what they're buying from you. And then proof of how you're going to do it. Key, one more time. Focus on the investment of how you're going to help them achieve what they want. So I'm going to give you a quick example. So some of you have probably had feature benefit selling skills before. Would that be right? Anyone here, volunteers, had feature benefit selling skills? Okay, I have one volunteer that's had that and can help me share this. Anyone jump in? Features and benefit selling skills. No one's jumping in yet. Okay, I'm going to do it without a volunteer then. Oh, Ray, you're jumping in. Thank you. All right, Ray. So I just want to demonstrate feature benefit. You help me through this. So I've got a new shampoo, and it's got these special ingredients that's going to make your hair really shiny. And when I take selling skills classes, all right, when I take selling skills classes, what's the feature in that? What's the benefit? I get this new shampoo, got these special ingredients, going to make your hair really shiny. Ray, the feature is what, and the benefit is what? Anybody? No? Help? All right. Features of special ingredients. Thank you, John. And the benefit is the shiny hair. Exactly. And that's the way it's taught. And there's millions and millions and millions of dollars teaching people to do that. Now, it doesn't work. I'm going to prove to you why it doesn't work. But the part I want you to take away is not that I'm making fun of the fact it doesn't work. I want you to remember the key concept. All right. And Nina, I'm going to pick on you, if that's okay, but in a nice way. Nina, I've got a second shampoo, right? We know what the first one is. I got a second shampoo. Nina, do you have kids or significant other, or who's really important in your life? Who's the most important in your life? Your son. All right. How old's your son? 22. All right. So he's proud of mom. So Nina, I got a second shampoo. And let me share it. It's got these special ingredients. And Nina, those special ingredients are going to make your hair really shiny. But I know you're going out to dinner Saturday night with your son. You're going to just feel so beautiful and so confident and make your son so proud to be with mom. You're just going to feel so beautiful. What shampoo is going to sell more? The first one, special ingredients, it's going to make your hair really shiny. Or the second one, special ingredients that make your hair really shiny. And as a result, when you go out with your son, it's going to be awesome. You're going to feel great. Here's what I want you to notice, really important. The key is not what they're buying from you. The key is the result in their life after they've bought it and they're using it. And most proposals do that poorly. One more time. The key is not what they're buying from you. That's your comfort zone. That's not their comfort zone. Why is it your comfort zone? Because we know the facts. So we share our facts. That's our comfort zone. The disconnect is that for them, their comfort zone is the opinion. So we deal with facts subconsciously. They're looking for to support an opinion. Opinions win. And why don't we get to opinion? Because we're so focused on our comfort zone. What does our product or service do to them, for them, not the result after? That's the key. Does that make sense? Does that help? Does that help you see a huge difference? Right? That makes sense to everybody? All right. So let's go on. So the key is focusing on what's the effect on their life. And then the most successful companies will say, in general, not absolutely. First, focusing on the experience you can help them avoid. And secondarily, what they're going to gain. But it doesn't always have to be that way. The more important part is the experience after they bought, after they've started using. Now is how does it affect their life? All right. Next, proposals should kiss. What does that mean? Well, I share with my students and my clients that I consult with, because I still do that for money too, outside of care, but companies I do it with are huge companies and the tens of millions of dollars, so I can charge them. But I give this away free to all of you, but it's the same thing. What's key? Your job is to think chess. All the implications of everything going on. Your job is to communicate checkers. Think chess, communicate checkers. If they want more detail, they'll ask for it. And KISS means keep it simple, stupid. Thank you for Terrence. I should have pointed out immediately, but it's what's in it for them. So, 1, did you share a vision of their future. How you are, in general, their best and safest choice versus their other options. And remember, a key in a presentation and a proposal is to share how you compare to other options, not here's me. If you don't compare it to other options, it's much harder and it takes much more effort for them to come to the conclusion you're the best option. So key, one, make it easy for them to see where you're similar, but most importantly, where you're different. And at the end of the day, versus the other options, why you're a better and safer, remember, avoid and gain, why you're a better and safer choice. All right? 2, share what they expect, but also always share what they don't expect. Experience gained and avoided. The key, here's what we can expect, but the key value tends to be on what they don't expect. 3, prioritize, right? Show them how their objectives, what they're trying to accomplish, their strategies, how you're going to help them accomplish it, and the tactics, just the details. Make sure those are integrated and demonstrate collaboration. And commit to actions. Share with them how smart you are, right? Be specific, how you can measure success versus failure, not just a blanket statement. Attainable, how it'll be achieved. Make sure it's relevant to the key objective and when they can expect it. Being smart in a proposal makes it a much stronger proposal. But communicate, think chess, communicate checkers. I'm going to share a story that happened in my career very early. I was age 26, and it had a huge effect on my life. And what happened is the chairman of the board of Johnson & Johnson, the chairman of IBM were friends, and they sat on each other's board of directors. And they said, let's take 5 key executives that are under the age of 30, part of our future. And let's get them together as a group of 10, and let's challenge them to identify something for us. And the challenge was, help us identify the difference between our best salespeople and our really good ones, not the bad ones, that's obvious. Our best ones are really good ones, and the same thing with our leaders. Our best ones versus our really good ones. I can still remember, we're in this room. I happen to be running oral care products like Reach toothbrush and Act fluoride rinse and dental floss and toothpaste and things like that. Another person was doing OB tampons. Another person was doing Tylenol. From IBM, we had someone on typewriters, shows how old I am, and computers. They were new then, and software. We had the oddest combination of people. And we thought this was the dumbest assignment in the world. How come we're all together to do this assignment? We thought it was dumb. But when you work for companies like that, you don't tell the leaders that they're dumb. So what did we do? We started with a hypothesis because we had a lot of data. The hypothesis was, and we're going on, we go, okay, 6'2", blonde hair, blue-eyed, happen to be male, outgoing personality, looks athletic. And I finally stood up and said, man, Hitler would love us right now. We sound like Hitler Youth. And everyone laughed for a bit, but then we said, okay, let's actually do a study. We went out to customers, we went out to peers, we went to everybody. And we had one question in there that was designed to be a fake question. I put it in there. And the reason was, I said, well, if in market research, we know a dumb question, we can take those surveys out and just focus on the good ones. And here was my dumb question. They were storytellers. They were storytellers. I said, okay. And here's the weird part. It was the only thing that predicted our best versus really good salespeople. It was the only thing that predicted our really good leaders from our best leaders. So we hired, because we had money, we hired some psychiatrists to help us understand. And they helped us understand. Think about it. When we share information, who's most important? Us, storytellers. It's about you. What's communicated? Most of us, logical facts. That's our comfort zone. Storytellers, the emotional outcomes. 3, what's the language? Most of us are industry language. Storytellers, the simplest for them to understand so they can explain it to somebody else. 4, what's success? You heard me. Storytellers, you understood me and understood what's in it for you. How's it shared? I'm going to tell you stuff. Storytellers, I'm going to engage you. What's the focus? Most of us, who, what, when, where, and how. Storytellers, it's all about the why. And what's the strategy? Most of us, subconsciously or consciously, is trying to convince people. Storytellers, I'm just here to help. We're wired to share facts. It's our comfort zone. Customers and employees are wired to conclude opinions. It's safer. And here's the interesting thing about that. If you ask people questions, when they run out of facts, because they're almost always going to respond with facts first, you get to the emotional outcomes that's actually the most important. Some of you, it's not a straight proposal. I'm going to go through different types. One type of proposal is for an RFP, right? A request for proposal. I'm guessing some of you have RFPs. Would that be true? You can throw in the chat room. So here's a lesson I learned with RFPs that is very rare. And here's what I do. I follow the RFP exactly of what they asked for. Then I step back and I say to myself, at the end of the day, what was the requirement? And I write down the 5 or 6 or 7 requirements that they asked for. Because here's what I know about RFPs. People going through RFPs hate doing them. They take a lot of time in their work. And 2 is, it's like a checklist. They're looking to see if you got to what's important. So I always put a cover page on my RFP. It said, look, here's what you asked for. Did we achieve it? Here's what page it's on. However, did we exceed what you asked for? And I always make sure we exceeded it. I give a couple of quick examples and tell them what page that's on. Now, why do I do that? 2 types of RFPs. One, a straight one, they look at this and say, I demonstrate care, I demonstrate respect. They know everything they've been assigned to look for is in there. Makes their life easy. They appreciate it. Here's a second reason. Some RFPs are designed to just get the lowest price. But here's what I find. People are looking for the lowest price. 6 months from now, a year from now, a year and a half from now, they've got a project that's very difficult. And they remember we go beyond what's expected and we get pulled out and requested for that kind of proposal. So that's a way of thinking of RFPs a little bit differently. Second key thing, whatever kind of proposal, compare and contrast. So for example, I was working with this MBA program and it was Northern Kentucky University, part of the Kentucky system. They were competing for MBAs with Xavier. Don't just say what we do, which is what they used to do. They said, look, we cost less, takes less time, we're better value, you get it done quicker, and we're more focused. And show the data. Compare and contrast. Don't just show what you are. Make it easy for them to understand the differences. Demonstrate the experience. So in this particular case, this client was trying to share how a job cost system would work in construction and how to do it better, right? And with a quick glance, You can see what they estimate, what actually happened, what was the profit, were the differences in expectations, and it led to better action steps. So that's what I mean. Help them visualize the experience. Is what this did. Show off your process. So, for example, we used to build in our proposals. This happened to be a construction company. Hey, as an example, we help prevent problems before they happen. We're going to visit the site. This happened to be a roofing contractor. We're going to visit the site before we even start the project and go through, check for various different things. And we're going to do the same thing when we finish. So show off your process in your proposals, because what you'll find is most competitors don't have a process that's documented. So develop a this is our 37-step safety process. This is our 42-step quality control process. This is our 10-step safety process. Show off your processes and share it with the clients. Because when you share a process, what does it do? It reduces risk. And what did we learn before? We're more motivated by avoiding risks than seeking gain. See how that ties together? All right. Share your deliverables. Okay, so this happened to be an example of something I used to do with some Fortune 500 companies, and I called it a tune-up toolkit, right? And I sat down with them and say, here are the deliverables we can. It's a salad bar. Let's pick and choose which ones make the most sense for you. Demonstrate the outcomes. What can they expect? And notice it's in a format that summarizes the key things. And notice everything I'm doing in the proposal. I'm writing it for the person, but I'm writing it to make it easy for them to grab the pieces that are important for their boss and summarize it. And Nina asked, does it make sense to share a budget in the first proposal letter? Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. There's no absolute to that. I like to not share the budget up front. Ideally, if they didn't ask for it, I like to sell on, here are the options you might want to consider. Let's focus in on the options that make sense. And then we can see, well, what would it cost to deliver that? So what do most proposals have and how they organize? This is a standard boilerplate. You've probably seen something very similar to this. This is a boilerplate. When you look up how to do good proposals, when you look at books, when you see how it's taught in school, that's boilerplate, and it's fine, right? But I approach it a little bit differently. I want to show you now some examples, right? This one happened to be for a doctor's office. And this doctor's office, and some of you have probably experienced this, they were switching over to a concierge program, because under a concierge program, it's not, doctors today have trouble making money off insurance unless they just operate like a factory, just process as many people through, right? So they set up a one-page summary of why you might want a concierge program. Here's what I want you to notice about it. If it was written out, it would have been 3-4 pages. Notice the way it was written out. 2, it says what it is, but sort of why. It's a special membership. 3, if you read just the left column, you understand the whole thing. The issue, why we created this program. We have a new approach for patient options for their medical care. What's the advantage, right? Why would you consider it? And what will you get? What's the investment? And your decision. Notice it's laid out so they can scan it. A key thing in great proposals is they can tell the story, they can scan it before they read it, because people don't just sit down and read proposals. They scan it to determine how much effort they're going to put into it. So notice in this particular technique, I call it the block writing technique. If you Google it, you could call it information mapping. It's based on a technique that was developed at Cornell, and frankly, every Ivy League school uses it for note-taking. I want to share an example of a presentation. This happened to be a SCORE client. And there's a software, all right? Notice, First page is all about the client. It's showing off the client. It's, demonstrate care and respect. 2, executive summary was called What's This About? And notice it addresses them personally and gives a quick summary of what's in the proposal. Easy. 3, and this is key. Remember, go in having gathered information from them. We start off with the assumption. Here's our understanding of your criteria and objectives. Why do I always have something like that? Because it gives them an excuse. If I got something wrong, they can say, hey, I like where they're going, but they misheard. Let's go back and help them understand. So if I misheard something, it's not like, here's my stuff. They also demonstrates care and respect by sharing, here's what I think I heard, which is all based on. So it gives them something to compare and contrast against. Generally appreciated. 3, here's a summary of our approach. We got 3 steps. We got a discovery session, quality session, and keep it smart and simple. We just talk quickly how we go about it, our approach. 4, here's our perception of their company in this particular case. So we did a SWOT analysis on their industry so they could see in perspective what we were recommending. 5, always give options. Here's why. Even if you're certain what they're going to choose, if you don't give options, they don't feel like they're making the decision. Always share options so they're making the decision, even if you're certain which option they're going to choose. So always have at least an option or more than one. Show your methodology, but in a conversational way. Notice they don't have to read the whole thing. They scan it. Oh my God, they do. They're going to do the redesign. They're going to do the, and it's broken into sections. Quality assurance. Here's your checklist to make sure it got done right, even if they didn't ask for it. Show them that you're buttoned up. Demonstrate your process takes risk away and delivers a gain that the experience is more likely to be positive. Show the schedule and the benchmarks. Here are the steps. Here's when it's likely to happen. Share your qualifications and share them at the end, not at the beginning. If it's the beginning, you're bragging. If it's at the end, it's sharing and support. Then the cost and terms and conditions, and keep your legal copy as short and precise, but as required as possible. And notice even how we titled it, right? The legal stuff, more conversational. And Sandra, again, yes, we're going to publish the presentation. If you need it tonight, just email me tonight. I'll have it 2 hours after this is over, and it includes everything that I've got here. And then ask for the order, right? Do they like it? Is there anything else we can do to help? All right. Here's another type of proposal, right? This happens to be a home improvement contractor. What's on the first page? It's their home. It's about them. And notice it's got copy on it that reinforces the key things you'd want them to know about you. In this case, we're the most trusted. We get a special warranty. We do Experior systems. When values, right at the top, when value is important and simply cheap isn't good enough. Reinforces your message, it's about them. 2, thank them. It's a sincere privilege and an opportunity to serve you. Here's how we go about things. Here's things that make us different. Here's how we prepare. Here's how we install. Here's how we clean up. Here's your piece of main. This is a summary. And then take them through the details. Hey, here's our understanding of your situation, right? Then here's our approach. Then here's what's our deliverable. Then here's a summary of how we're similar and different and the risks we're going to help you avoid. So it's what we do versus the industry standard, and why should you care? The schedule and benchmarks, how the process is going to work. We share them. I call it the journey, predictable journey. So they see the steps, how we make sure it's done right. So in this case, it's here's how we start a job, our foreman checklist, here's how we complete a job. And we branded them. They're special. They're different. And yes, Deborah, I'll include my contact information as well. All right. I'll include it. So when you write to me, it'll be there when you write back. We had a very special warranty, different than everybody else. And even our legal stuff, simple, one page. Downplay it like it's not like in your face. And at the end of the day, a quick summary of what you can expect. We help them make choices in this case. So we've gone through different kinds of proposals. We've been through RFPs, how to separate and make them better. We've done traditional ones for services, how to do that. We've done one that's based on analysis and response. We've done different types here. And I hope you got something of value out of it. And again, if you want the PowerPoint in the recording of this, write to me. My email's at the bottom, right? B, if I can help you at all, feel free to request me as a mentor. And Regina, I'm going to turn it back to you. And I'll also take any questions or comments that you have. I'm not taking emails off this chart here. Please write to me and we'll take care of that. Regina?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. That was pretty darn incredible to see the process that you go through and breaking down everything from features to benefits to opinions to facts. Really, really fantastic information. The recording will be provided to everybody. And just to let you know, just wanted to thank you, Dave, and thank the audience. Thank you for coming and seeing Dave and soaking in this great information. There will be a feedback questionnaire that you will get from SCORE by email. Please provide feedback on that. Just to provide again Dave's email, it's, if you need to get it right away, it's dharrisoncmo@gmail.com. You can email Dave directly. You will also see this email here, david.harrison@scorevolunteer.com. And yes, so thank you very much for attending this evening, and we hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Dave, any questions that you need to answer before we go?
No, I just, again, I want to reinforce, I really appreciate your attending. I know it takes time away from you too. You can write for me for this proposal. If you want other presentations I've done, just let me know in your request. I'll send you a bunch of them too. Even, not even just some from SCORE, I'll even send you some from university lectures that I've done, if that's helpful to you. Look, Regina and I are here for the same reason. We've been fortunate in life. And one thing I believe about business and life in general, if anyone tells you they did well because they're just smart and worked hard, they're not being honest with themselves.
Nope.
Probably not with you, because the reality is it takes a lot of luck too. And part of luck is having people in your life that came along and said, I'm here to help you. And we're at a stage fortunate in life where, hey, our satisfaction is if we have some God-given skills that can affect your life in even the smallest way, what a privilege it is to us. So thank you for the privilege of being able to play a small role in your lives. Appreciate it, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Thank you again, Dave.
Good night.